think we need to make rugby a simpler game as well, and not keep changing it and keep changing rules and evolving it.
Welcome to the House of Rugby, brought to you by Joe. As always, I'm here with my mate, Shawnee the Salad Dodger, but also I'm joined by the legend of Harlequins, André Esterhuizen, or Andre the Giant. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, thanks. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
No, it's good to see you. You had a good weekend, a few days off?
Yeah, good weekend. Bad Friday. Obviously, the result didn't go our way, but yeah, spent a couple of days in Bath, so yeah, it was nice.
It didn't go well for me at the weekend either. Shawnee's the only one who got a win this weekend, but also you're back playing. How was it?
Thank you. It was actually perfect because it was a very stop-start game, so it suited. It wasn't overly fast. So probably for someone's first game back in a couple of months, it was actually quite nice. No, body felt good. It was they're a tough team to play against, though, either. So it was a good one for us to win. And we done well to get back into it because we were 14-0 down after 20 minutes. What about you? What happened to you guys? You in particular. You were the Barry Crocker.
Yeah, didn't say a Crocker. Just a few wobblers put up. I think Dan Robson is officially my kryptonite. He put up the old paper bags, sort of wobblers everywhere, and could barely get a hand to them. At one point, I was like, couldn't believe it. So, not ideal. But no, we scrapped hard to get a bonus point at the end, which was good. But just some big moments got away from us, which are disappointing. Anyway, back to Andre. You have been called a few things this year. Andre the Giant, obviously. Agent of Chaos. Which ones do you prefer? do you know where these have come from? Who started them? Was it the boys? Was it coaches?
Yeah, no. Obviously, I don't prefer any nickname. But yeah, I think the Giant one just came along from South Africa, and then Tabs just started this year. I think he said in an interview once, Agent of Chaos.
It's sticking now anyway.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
yeah,
what
that's
I want to
the
call
problem.
it now. Agent of Chaos.
That's the problem.
Yeah, basically, what you don't like, you get called. Rugby, so
Yeah.
If you said I love that nickname, no one would probably ever call you it again. So it's going to stick.
Andre the Giant, obviously WWE wrestler. Have you seen that? Sean, are you into wrestling?
Yeah, I used to love wrestling.
Is he a good wrestler?
Andre the Giant?
Yeah.
Well, he
One of
was
the
because
best?
he was just a big boy, wasn't he? Like your man here beside me. Who else did I used to love? Bret the Hitman Hart. Do you remember him?
Yeah. Triple H. for
Yeah,
me.
Triple H. I
Steve
love
Austin, Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah, I used to love him crushing the cans of Budweiser. And
Well, it's now time to turn our attention to the Six Nations, which starts this weekend. We have teamed up with Match Pint to bring you the House of Rugby Predictions League. The game is simple. Predict the scores, beat your mates, and win some Guinness.
all you got to do is pick the winner and how much to win by.
This is your chance to prove that you know far more than me and Shawnee by joining the House of Rugby Predictions League.
All you got to do is go to the free Match Point app, go to the Guinness Point Predictor, and enter the league code House of Rugby.
We'll be making our predictions each week, and so can you. So, Shawnee, who are you going for? Ireland versus Wales?
I'm going for Ireland by 9.
I will go Ireland by 12. Andre, who you thinking in that one?
Yeah, Ireland by 14.
Oh, he's confident.
I should have pushed it out a little bit, to be fair.
I'm
at home.
surprised you didn't. I expected you to go a lot more, but you've made your bed now.
I've made my bed.
Scotland versus England. Who have you got?
I'm going with Scotland by 3.
Yeah. I will go England by 3. Andre?
Yeah, I'll go England by 6.
Oh, I like his confidence. He's getting behind me.
Yeah.
And France, Italy.
France by 24.
I'll go France by 19 for me. I think it might be a bit rusty. Andre?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I think Italy will be in it for the first half, but second half I think France by 29. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I've got to underestimate this a little bit.
Yeah.
Can I quickly change?
No, absolutely not.
Well, you still owe me a steak dinner and red wine from the last time we did.
I'm gonna cook for you.
predictions. I don't want you to cook. I want an expensive meal out.
It's going to be
where
more
it hits
intimate
you.
if I cook
No,
for
it
you.
hits you more.
It
That's
would be
what I want.
nicer. We'll have a nicer evening together.
It won't be.
We will.
I want to be away from your dogs. I don't want them biting my shoes. So, on the Six Nations, news this week from the England camp particularly. Joe Marchant unavailable through COVID. I think Freeman's gone, he's unavailable through injury. Owen Farrell, obviously out through injury. Courtney Laws, possibly out through injury, concussion. What does that mean for England, really?
I think it is a blow for them because you have two of their kind of leaders within Owen Farrell and Courtney, if he's not involved. I think they were light enough on backs as it was as well, so they're another two down now.
And obviously, Johnny May as well.
Johnny May is
very experienced for them.
Yeah, so I think they're a little bit under strength, but the type of players they have in there now, you have some younger guys. Ollie Hassel-Collins in the mix, Freddie Stewart's there, Max Mallons. You've had these guys who are like playing at a really high level every week, who are very, very dangerous. And I think if they're given the opportunity, it'll go really well for them. It's just, I suppose, the Six Nations just is such a tough competition that you could really do with a Courtney Laws or an Owen Farrell in there, obviously, just to steady the ship at times and know what's to be expected.
I think, like you said, there's a lot of quality players in there, especially in the backs. I know you're missing guys like Manu and Farrell and stuff, but that's just the experience. I think talent-wise, they don't miss too much, but obviously the experience and the communication on the field, I think that's the key thing they're going to miss.
We bring it up, 2018, the infamous tackle. I mean, I don't know how much you remember of it. You sort of got caught in a storm of which you probably weren't that bothered about, but it became a bigger sort of international incident, really. What do you remember at the time?
Yeah, it was strange. I only came up for, my last 10 minutes, so I obviously didn't expect something like that to happen. We're closing out the game, we were just behind, and obviously the tackle happened. In the moment, I didn't know it was I, so obviously I fell to the ground, I tried to place the ball and stuff. And then afterwards, I just heard the crowd and the players, stay down. How should I stay down if I'm not hurt? Obviously, if you play now, I think it'd probably be a card. But back in the day, it was a 50-50. Maybe just a penalty. But yeah, you know how things go. So can't get everything out.
Yeah. And obviously Rassie, big character as we now know more about him than before. But he obviously wasn't best pleased with it, and obviously there's infamous videos I think we can see coming up of him doing tackling practice with you. I think it was in the week, as you can see here. had he sort of forewarned you before this and had a little chat about this?
No, he actually just pulled me aside and he said, listen, we'll do a few tackling drills. And obviously when I started the tackling, I realised, okay, what's going on now? It was obviously just having a bit of fun, having a laugh. And more tackle.
No, he's still not happy.
No, he's not happy.
Just go on.
Decapitated someone in the midriff. But no, take his head off.
He's going to try and show you now with his arm.
No arm, just the shoulder there.
What's it like working with Rassie and what the character he is? We obviously see a lot now on social media, him and his dogs and bits and pieces. But as a coach, what's it like?
I think a lot of people have different perspectives of him. I think if you're a friend to him, you see him different. If he's a coach to you, you see him different. He can be very sarcastic in times. He likes having fun and making a few jokes and stuff. So sometimes you don't know when he's joking or not. I think he's obviously very passionate about rugby.
Is he always on the training field? Is he very active in terms of sort of the coaching on the field? Or is he more sort of strategic planning?
Yeah, obviously now, I don't know, since he stepped into to director of rugby, back when I was there, he was still head coach and stuff. Now that Jock's taken over, I have no idea how it's going at the moment. But yeah, back in the day, he was on the field, sometimes training with us. Very active.
Did he ever get in on the mauling or fast play, get a few hits in there?
He likes a bit of contact, so yeah.
Imagine he loves
every
it.
South African.
Yeah, by the way. Well, I mean, we used to have
you included.
Yeah, we used to have, helps if you're big as well. I probably might enjoy contact if I was a bit bigger, but probably not. I don't know if you ever came across Brendan Venter when you were at the Sharks.
Yes.
I remember he came to the Saracens, and the first training session he was trying to prove a point about how to create quick ball, and he comes out and we've all got our gum shields in and boots and everything, and it's a bit wet, and he takes his flip-flops off in his shorts and just a t-shirt, and puts himself at 12, and he's like, well, I'll do it. And we'd had a few injuries at 12, and opposite him was the other coach, which was Andy Farrell. And so you've got these two coaches. Now, Brendan, at this stage, is probably only, I don't know, 12 and a half stone. You know, he'd lost all his weight and everything. And Andy Farrell's a big man. And so first one, he runs in full tilt, elbows high, like he always did, catches, you know, Andy Farrell on the thing, gets the quick ball, goes, look, this is about quick ball. This is what I'm trying to show you. And we're all like mesmerised, like trying to train, but also the two coaches going, Andy Farrell's like swearing, calling him cheap and like putting his elbow up and he's got a cut. So next time he runs in straight at him, Andy Farrell smashes him, like whacks him. And there's this ruck that goes on over it. And next thing, we just hear this shout of, who's gouged me? Who's gouged me? Someone gouged my eyes, right? And we're all like, what is going on here? Brendan's walking off, like talking to us. We're like, hang on a minute, has one of the other coaches gouged him? It's like, what's happened? You know, we can't really work it out. But it sort of summed up sort of Brendan and his nature. If he wants to get a point across, then he'll just do it himself, even in his bare feet. And
two macho type of men as well, aren't they? Like Andy is like that as well, to be fair.
Moving on to new rules have come in just for the Six Nations. World Rugby have announced that there'll be a closed law trial to advance scrum stability and player welfare with the scrum. Now it's a week out. Shawnee, what are the rules exactly as our resident forward?
So as I've heard it anyway, I think it's to do with the break foot of the hooker. So he's not allowed to leave it there now. It has to be back to take pressure basically off neck and that area when they set.
Yeah, extended towards the opposition.
Yeah, so I think as far as I'm aware, I don't think it's a big thing for hookers to change or to try and change. I suppose the biggest thing is when as the game goes on, they'll revert to type again. You know, they're a week out probably. Most hookers are the scrummage like that, like all their lives. So it is a little bit of a variation for them.
You've spoken to a few of the boys at the club?
Yeah, I spoke to a few lads today about it. They're fine with it. It's just, again, it could be hard for referees to pick up on it every single time. You'll have to be really, really looking for it. But it's funny I think it's funny that they're doing it a week out from the Six Nations. Why not have this like a month ago or 2 months ago to see and to get referees used to it too? It's another thing that a referee has to look for now. So there's so many things going on in rugby, and I know we spoke about this last week a little bit. Like football or soccer, as we call it in Ireland, is like a simple game. But look, that's another conversation. But yeah, it'll be interesting just to see how referees want to deal with it and how teams deal with it themselves this weekend.
Yeah, well, World Rugby statement reads that having consulted widely with leading players, including international hookers, scrum coaches and match officials, World Rugby wishes to understand whether this minor adjustment can have a positive impact on the number of scrum collapses and resets and player outcomes. Andre, you know, it seems every year there's a slight change in the rules from 50-22s to stopping the ball going over the sidelines, you know, doing dropouts from under your post. Do you find the start of the year, you just wish it was the same game every year and the rules weren't changing and it's quite hard to keep up, even as a player?
It is quite hard to keep up. Like you said, it is a simple game and we should keep it simple. Learning a new rule every year, or 2 to 3 new rules every year, whether it's in breakdown or dropping out of your own 22 or out of your own goal. It is quite tough. I like the old rules, and obviously for me the card rules as well, high tackles and stuff like that. For me, it is
doesn't help that you're a giant of a man, but
yeah. I was going to say, not there. It is hard to get down low.
Yeah,
it's interesting to see who sits on those type of panels.
That's always interesting to me. They always say it's come from players and
international hookers.
Yeah, I'm like, they don't name them, do they?
No. No one's putting their name to it until it works.
Yeah, it works. Oh yeah, I had a big say in that. I suggested it. Yeah.
That was my idea.
Yeah, Roy Best was like, yeah, it was all me. It's a bad one. Never went there. Never.
Yeah.
Some news outside of rugby this week. Willie won't he retire? Tom Brady, the GOAT of NFL, just an amazing career. Would it be a sad day if he has to retire or does retire?
I don't know if it'll be a sad day because he's just left such a legacy on the whole game, but He's been incredible, so he has, over his whole career. And I really started to when he joined the Buccaneers, I really started getting involved in it then, following him and Gronk, and all their little videos to do for the Buccaneers. Quite entertaining, to be fair. But like, he's the most decorated player in the NFL. Incredible to stay going at 44 years of age.
So he's the GOAT, right? Who would be the best ever rugby player ever?
Ever.
And Andre, I'll ask you the same question.
Oh, I'm going to
chuck some names. It's too hard to pick.
I'm going to say McCaw.
Rich McCaw.
Yeah.
Okay. Gareth Edwards. Seen a few black and white videos of him. Unbelievable.
It's tough. Obviously, I'll go in my position. Tano Manga.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Good choice.
Choose your position, yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying McCaw just because of the era he played in, which was kind of at the start when it like really went professional, and then once it got into like 5-6 years ago when rugby was really, really at its height too, he done it all the time. From that time to the time he finished playing, he was at the top all the time.
If I had to do it more modern, who I'd seen, I think I would say Brian Driscoll. Just at points, there was an Ireland team that weren't the best, weren't great, and he was always exceptional.
He was unreal, yeah.
And then as Ireland got better, he was always still exceptional. When he went to the Lions tours, just exceptional, amazing. Heineken Cups, amazing. Shawnee, so moving on to Anton Dupont did a GQ photo shoot this week. I mean, you've probably got to be the best in the world at the moment to wear this. He looks a bit uncomfortable in that, in the yellow robe. Shawnee, have you ever done a photo shoot like that? Have you ever done a photo shoot? Has anyone ever taken a photo of you?
Not publicly, anyway.
Not publicly. Andre, could you see yourself wearing that? You're not really. Don't strike me as a robe man, but I don't know.
Yeah, probably at home, but not in public or on a magazine.
Shawnee, you made a good point. He's probably made quite a lot of money off the back of it, so he's probably not upset.
Yeah. You'd want 6 figures for that, wouldn't you?
How much would you have to be paid to wear that, Shawnee? A tenner? 50 quid?
No. You'd have to. You'd be talking a lot of money now to be.
I love
to be wearing that robe.
Put a figure to it. You'd have it. You'd also have it completely done up.
I wouldn't want my toes showing. It'd be broken bits.
You've got some minging toes.
No, I haven't some minging toes. Just 1 or 2 that are broken.
Just 1 or 2. How much then?
50.
50 grand. No one's ever paying you that for anything.
Most of the stuff that I used to do would have been like the suits and that kind of thing. Would have been all the good stuff, like get the best looking lads out, like to take the pictures and stuff like that. So
no, you just get Rob Carney and Dave Carney to it. You wouldn't be anywhere near it.
You have to have someone. You have to have someone for everyone to look at.
You'd be on Country File or whatever it is, Hare and the Hound or whatever it is. in your sort of tweed, your shooting boots and your gun. That'd be you.
Hare and the Hound. What was the film that was in?
It was
Julia Roberts and
Notting Hill. Yeah. Was it Hare and Hound? What was it Horse and Hound?
Horse and Hound.
Horse and Hound. Yeah, that'd be your market.
It probably would actually.
While we're talking about world class players, me and Shawnee last week had to pick our ultimate Six Nations 15. 15 players from any of the nations. Shawnee, I picked Fish Chetty, Ronan Kelleher, Tag Furlong, Maro Toji, Cameron Waukee, Caelan Doris, Tom Curry, Gregory Aldrit, Dupont, Russell, Adams, Henshaw, Bakatawa, Van der Merwe, and Keenan from Ireland. Shawnee, who did you go for?
So I have went for a little bit different. I have went for Cyril Bae at Loosehead, Ronan Kelleher, Tadhg Furlong, Maro, Paul Willemse in the second row, the French lock, massive big fella, Jamie Ritchie at 6, Tom Curry at 7, and Gregory Aldred at 8. Dupont, Marcus Smith, Monty Ione, the Italian winger, thought he's been in great form. Robbie Henshaw, Maryland, Vakatawa, France, Damien Pano, French, and Hugo Keenan from Ireland.
Andre, what do you think of those teams? Good teams?
Yeah, good teams. I'll probably go Bjork back and his backs.
Oh, I love what you've done there. You got to come back
smart.
again, eh? So smart.
To be fair, if we mix them up like that, it'd still be a very, very good team.
You can check us out talking through all our choices on the Joe YouTube channel by clicking the link below. So, Andre, growing up in South Africa, was rugby always your first sport? Was it the sport you loved the most?
Yeah, I think growing up South Africa is you start with all sports. You do athletics and cricket and rugby, but obviously you never know you're gonna make it in rugby, especially coming from a small town like I did. Probably no one knows the name. So yeah, you only start taking rugby seriously as soon as you hear something from probably a school week you go to, start to talk to people. But yeah, always loved rugby. My dad played rugby until he was 42, so yeah, always next to the field and stuff. So yeah.
And so when you signed for the Sharks, obviously your first club there, what was that like going down to Durban? Must have been a big change.
Yeah, obviously a big change. From a small place going to Durban and seeing the lights for the first time. Yeah, I had a fun first 2 years, and then obviously started taking things a bit more serious.
And what's been the biggest difference for you in terms of like training at Quins and training in South Africa? Is there much difference, or is it pretty similar?
The only thing that's changed is we don't have captains here, so we literally have basic 2 days of training per week, and Monday is just the install, so a lot less training. I think we were very fortunate in doing it last year when everything happened with the coaching staff, and so obviously we lost our head coach and stuff, and the players took over a lot of the stuff, and we said we don't want captains, and it worked. So now it's just carried into this year.
It's always the best, that, isn't it? We had a week before a game in Boxing Day, and we all had COVID pretty much, and we had one training session, I think it was, and it was our best performance for the year. And all the players like, right, so we never train. We're never going to train. Coach like, oh, I'm not sure. Like, no, we're not training anymore. Yeah. We're just going to play football. I think it lasted.
It does work out that way though. We had the same a few weeks back. Like we had one training day, because we were waiting on COVID tests and stuff like that. And it was like one of our best performances too. Sometimes I genuinely think it could be just good, just training twice a week. Go back to the amateur days. Yeah. Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Play at the weekend.
It's also that fear, or you go, like, look lads, if we don't perform, then we're going to have to train harder next week. Unlike if we do really well, we can keep this going.
Yeah, 100%.
Which does make a big difference. But talking of Quins, and just talk us through the second half of last year, obviously, that wonderful run that you guys went on, accumulating in the final and the victory. You know, it must have seemed in December, you know, miles away, and probably thinking, you know, can I get out of here? And then you come the end of the season, it's you know, what a game it was in the final. You know how well you guys played, and leading up to that, you know, what do you remember that, and how enjoyable was it?
I think it was a tough year for me. Obviously, I just came in, got a red card. So I would say 4 or 5 weeks. Then played a bit, got another red card. It was out for 6, 7 weeks. So it was quite tough in terms of that. And in the middle of the season, we lost the head coach, and so there was a lot of stuff going on that year. And then that was literally after a 6-game losing streak. But after that, it started going well.
You actually beat us in the last play of the game, and that was,
I know,
went on a roll then.
That's why I got my red card.
Yeah.
Were you trying to hit Shawnee? Because many a man wants to hit that face. I get it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that was a vital win for us. I think Marcus stepped 4 guys in the last minute to score the try.
And we went down and he went up.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying, did you walk over from the stoop for that day?
Yeah.
What was that like?
That was my first walk over from the stoop. Amazing. Obviously, the fans from the stoop all the way to Twickenham. Yeah, it was unreal.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. And your international career, obviously, 8 caps you've had for South Africa, last being 2019. I'm sure, you know, you want to have more and you have a chance. Has there been much conversation with the guys there?
Yeah, obviously, I would love to play for South Africa again. Not much chats, obviously, since the British Ice Lions or just before that. And then I had a few good performances and got a message from Jock who said that I've played well. So yeah, I'll probably just keep it up. Hope for the best. I think it's World Cup next year, so it's a good goal to work towards too.
Well, we've had some fans' questions come in. So from Fafster25, he says, which are tougher, South African derbies or English derbies?
I think tougher in the sense of it's more frustrating South African derbies because it's so, you don't score tries, you just penalties, and because it's just you just get banged from anywhere. If you get the ball, you get banged. So and it's just big blokes running at you. I think the tougher in winning is probably here. It's better games here. So for me, I like the derbies here more than there.
Good to hear.
Nice.
Not everyone speaks about the Premiership, isn't it? It's good rugby. From AJ_1903, who has been the toughest opponent you have faced?
I think in the centre is probably Samuel Karevi. He's one of the toughest players I've played against.
He's a machine.
A final question. It's a classic Rugby Norse question here. Do you really bench 230 kilos? From Will Norse Ross 50.
No, I don't bench 230. You barely see me in the gym.
But to say, I mean, the only South Africans I've ever come across, they didn't do weights. Like we had Skulkberger and Skulk Brits, two pretty laid back characters at the best of times, and they used to just go in. Skulk Brits wouldn't turn up because he was playing golf, and Skulkberger would just go in there. He'd have the like the rolling pins things.
Oh, yeah,
He'd just roll out his quads, roll out his quads, sit there with a coffee, right? And when he finished his coffee, he would just go back and then get a massage.
Yeah, no.
But then came game day, he was an animal. He would just dive in every ruck, headfirst at people. He was a maniac, but he didn't
I'm not
do any
a big
weights.
fan of the gym either, so yeah, it's...
It must be a South African thing.
Yeah, well,
we have a few as well.
Also,
No interest.
yeah, but they're also
You're looking at the time, right? Gym session starts at 3 o'clock. They're out by 20 past.
yeah, they're always quickest out.
It's 25 minutes max.
Yeah, but you're also never the ones who shy away from contact, so no one can really argue with him. So that's fair enough. Right, it's time for Good Week, Bad Week, Sean. And this week's Good Week goes to Coventry Rugby Club. Here you'll see they came up with an ingenious way to sell tickets.
There once was a team who's from Cornwall and dangerous with a rugby ball. This Saturday the BPA will need you everyone. Soon may the Pirates come with a rolling maul and a big old scrum. See you on Saturday when the Cornishmen will come. We fought them once, now we fight again. We're facing 15 Cornishmen.
Yeah, I hope to get a sellout.
Yeah, no, they did. They did get a sellout. A full crowd out there, so very effective way of selling tickets. And right up your street, Shawnee, you love a sing song.
Yeah, I do like a sing song. Although a couple of pints now might be have had before.
Yeah, the difference would be is that you'd be in tune for the first bit, then you'd probably lose it, then you take your top off, and then you just start belting out whatever you felt like singing. He's got previous
It could be
top off singing.
Could be anything.
Loves it. And Shawnee, who gets this week's Bad Week?
This week's Bad Week goes to the bus driver of Massy Rugby Club, which is a French third division side, who left one of the academy players at a service station. And he had to get a lift home with another team, which was 4.5 hours from where he was.
Yeah. Imagine that, right? I get left behind by the Saracens bus driver, probably understandable, wants to leave me behind. And London Irish bus comes along and you see me at service station, up in Newcastle. What'd you do?
I'd pick you up, but I wouldn't let you sit on the bus.
Where'd you put me?
I'd put you in the boot of the bus.
Would you give me a few beers?
No.
Oh, come on.
Or no water.
So you're trying to make sure that I don't survive. And Shawnee, apart from putting me in the boot, who are you putting in the sin bin this week?
The sin bin goes to whoever designed the Rugby Nations 2022 cards for rugby. We have a picture of Ellis Genge here, which is absolutely looks nothing like him.
Yeah, it's appalling that.
It's absolutely terrible, yeah. So they're going in the sin bin this week.
Well, that's all we've got time for. Thanks, Shawnee, for coming along. But thank you, Andre, for joining us this week. It's been a blast.
Thanks so much for having me.
This has been House of Rugby. Find us on Joe YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcast from.